Hey Krafty Friends, this is Jen from Katahdin Krafts, and I am so excited to be on the CottageCutz channel today with my very first design team project for them. For my project today, I created this really cute scene on a Slimline card featuring many dies from the spring release. I absolutely love this release with all the cute little Easter themed die cuts. This is the Bunny Express engine and then the Bunny Express carrot cars. Look how cute they are and they work well together. And then we have the carrot house, which I'm turning into our little train depot today. And then I use the sign from Spring Chicken, just that little sign for my train station. And then the spring sentiments, I'm using that Hippity Hoppity because I couldn't resist with those cute little bunny ears on the ends. To create the train tracks, I used picket fence slimline die. And also for a stencil that I created, I'm using the cloud slimline die today. CottageCutz is giving away this adorable Bunny Express engine die this week. In order to enter for a chance to win, like and comment on my video. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, we would love for you to do so, please. The winner for the die will be announced on my next design team video on March 30th. Okay, let's dive right into our project. The first thing I did was back some cardstock with some sticker paper, double-sided sticker paper, and then I cut out the Bunny Express engine, and now I'm going to poke that all out and I'm going to lay it using the die cut as my guide onto my sticky mat, and that just keeps all of the little detailed pieces together so they don't get lost in the shuffle. That is one of the best things about CottageCutz are the details that they have on these dies. So I just found I was kind of experimenting with this method with the sticker paper and the sticky mat. That gives it a little bit of that slick backing so it doesn't completely adhere to my sticky mat, and therefore all of those pieces will lift up a lot easier. Today I'm choosing a very soft pastel palette for my card, and these are the Copic markers that I'm going to use. And I'm going to show you how I colored this first section, and then I'm going to do the rest off of camera because it really is a very color intensive project today. For most of the pieces, I'm using two separate shades today, a dark and a light. I'm starting with my light and then I'm adding a little bit of shadowing with my darker color and then going back over and smoothing that out with the light. And I was just having a lot of fun with this, with these super bright, fun Easter spring colors. I live in the northern tundra of Maine, and we have nothing but white out there right now. So this was fun getting ready and dreaming about spring a bit. And as I'm coloring, I keep the package of the die cut right beside me, as you can see, and that way it helps me place where all of those pieces are going to go so I can decide on my color scheme a little bit easier. Like I said, there are a ton of details, so it's very helpful to have that detailed packaging that comes with each of these die cuts. I'm going to use the same color palette throughout the whole card. I'm just, like I said, not going to show that all on screen because this is very color intensive, but I kept it so it's all matching and coordinating. And now the best part of the whole card is putting together this die cut. It's just like assembling a puzzle. I love it. And then the sticky back paper really worked well. It lifted off the mat super easy, and then you were all set. Like I didn't have to use a whole lot of liquid glue. There was a couple times with some of the smaller areas that I just went ahead and hit that with the glue if the backing wasn't going to come off easy or if it was just not worth worrying about it, but not often because as you can see, it's lifting right off of that mat. There were a few little pieces that needed a little bit of glue because I'm going to add the front to the train to build that die cut, as you can see right there. As I continue assembling the two engines here on the Express engine, I can introduce myself a little bit more. Again, my name is Jen Hartsgrove from Katahdin Krafts. I do live in Maine in the United States. I live with my husband and our 3 teenage children. Our eldest is getting ready to graduate high school this year. I am a homeschool mom. We also have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 pet pigs. Yep, the pet pigs both live in the house. One just turned 3 and the other is 6 months old. We're hoping that they become best friends. Right now it's a little bit tricky with the pigs because of the winter weather and them being a little bit cooped up. But hopefully that will all change soon as the snow begins to melt. Um, I truly love all things crafty: card making, stamping, coloring, die cutting. I crochet a little bit, painting, like you name it, I like to do it. I am a crafter. I have my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree through Green Mountain College in Vermont, and that was definitely the stepping stone of all of my craftiness. Okay, enough about me and my crazy life up here in Maine. Okay, after I'm done with all of the coloring and the assembling, I'm going to start working on my background. For my cloudy background, I decided to use the Cloud Slimline die and cut my own stencils. And that's just on some plastic type paper that I got on Amazon. And then for my rails, I went ahead and cut out the picket fence. I cut out a full one and then just like a partial one in order for it to cover the whole card. I like to use larger slimline cards. I like all the extra real estate it offers. So I went ahead with my background and cut a 3 3/4 by 8 3/4 piece of cardstock. And my favorite sky color is always tumbled glass. That's the one that I go back to almost every sky that I make. I just like the softness of it. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to use that stencil and build my clouds. And I'm using the new saltwater taffy just because I wanted to check it out. And it is a nice color. I'm just adding a little bit of that just for some contrast. And now I'm going to darken up the edges a little bit with that tumbled glass and then just fill it in so it's not completely stark white, but you still have the idea of the clouds there. And now for my bottom, underneath where those train tracks are going to be, I'm going to use a little mowed lawn and I'm just going to blend that down right on that bottom edge and then just have that tumbled glass go right there on the horizon. And that's my simple background. So now for my train tracks, I am going to cut off the very bottom part of this picket fence. I just looked at that and I thought it looked like a railroad, so I'm going with it. I think it worked out really well. I'm just going to trim that down and now I'm going to color this. I'm going to show you how I did the small section and I'm going to do the same thing to the larger section. Just get a little bit of shadows with that neutral tone grays and then smooth that all back out with the N2, the lightest color I used. So this is all of the components of my card all ready to go. As you can see, I only used 3 of the train cars because the other one just wouldn't fit no matter how hard I tried. I really wanted to get my little depot in there. And now for my sentiments, I'm going to use the spring sentiments. I cut out the whole die cut sheet again, and now I'm just going to place those on that mat and I'm going to color those in coordinating colors. And you'll see when I did the hoppy, I wasn't really thinking. I did that pretty blue, but there's not going to be enough contrast when I go to put it in the sky. So I'm going to have to darken that up with some purple. Now for my sign, I'm just going to simply handwrite Bunny Hop Depot with a pencil, and then I'm going to go back on with my multi-liner pen. And I figured it didn't have to be perfect because if it was handwritten by our bunnies, that it wouldn't be perfect either. And now I'm going to assemble that railroad track. And I'm not going to worry too much about this as I lay it down with the little seam because I'm going to just be very strategic and make sure that a wheel from the train goes over that, just like this. And now this is when I can start removing some of that sticky back and assembling our card. You can see the little details of this little connections, I guess you could call them, between the trains. I love it. I just love all the details. So I just had to slide those under to get the connections there. And yep, I've got a cat hair that I had to work out of my sticky background there. The cats love to get into my workspace and leave their hairs for me to remember them by. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to separate my little carrot top a little bit with that depot sign and then have that go up a little bit higher. And that just covers that seam, so that gives us that ability. And now I'm going to place a few flowers just because it's spring and all the pretty details. You can see I have everything on the sticky mat that I want to use or have the possibility of using. And now this is where the Hoppy, I realize Hoppity is not quite contrasting enough, so I'm going to go back and darken that a little bit. No biggie, I just went right on top of that blue and it worked out fine. And I just love those bunny ears at the ends. They're so adorable. So I'm just going to remove the pencil marks now that that pen has dried, and I'm going to decide where I want the Hippity Hoppity to go on my card and use a little bit of precision glue because I did not put my sticker backing on that. It might have been a little hard to work that off of that really delicate script. And then I'm going to place that. And I had to add those little detailed of the dots, the eyes. And again, having the sticky mat makes that really easy so you don't lose those little pieces. I am a messy crafter, so I tend to misplace everything. And then when I'm losing or looking for the next thing, I find the last thing that I was looking for. Yeah, that always happens to me. Now I just have to snip off the little remainder of that train track that was overhanging. And my card base is 9x4. That is my favorite Slimline. I'm going to adhere our card panel to our card base, and I thought it would be perfect. You could write or stamp Easter's on its way on the inside, so it would read Hippity Hoppity, Easter is on its way. I thought that would be super cute. Now just to finish it with a few more details, I added a few gems on the tires and just along the train and along that base of our depot. And there we have our cute little train scene for today. Thank you so much for crafting with me. I really appreciate it. Remember, if you comment and like on my video, you will be entered for the drawing on March 30th, and you can win this cute Bunny Express engine die cut. I'm really happy to be on this CottageCutz design team. I'm excited for the opportunity. So thank you very much for having me. And I will see you in 2 weeks with another spring release project. Thank you. Happy crafting.